Mindfulness and speed are two different things, two different categories. Some people think being mindful means doing everything really slowly. It's like, if I'm mindful, then I have to do everything really in slow motion. But some people do things slowly and they don't have much mindfulness, so they're just spacing out. And other people may be doing things quickly, but they're very clearly aware of what they're doing. Strong mindfulness. So mindfulness and speed of doing something are two different categories. Right? Now, when you're doing walking meditation, there's no one right or wrong speed. Normally we don't run, although, if you're running for exercise, then be mindful. Yeah, you can make that into quite a good meditation. What we mean by meditation is it's like that part of the mind which can step back and watch. They can watch what's happening with our body. Yeah. So with walking meditation, if we're feeling kind of very agitated, then maybe start walking at a normal pace and gradually slow down a bit, and that will help our mind to calm down. Or if you're feeling really sleepy or low energy, you can walk a little faster than normal, and that will help to bring up some energy. And if your mind is very peaceful, like very tranquil, then it's difficult to do anything very fast. Just naturally, you're going to feel like you want to walk more slowly. That's fine. That's all good. And if a bear is chasing you, then mindfully, with great awareness, scamper out of there, because it's like a big part of what we call mindfulness really means sati, panya, combination. Mindfulness together with wisdom. It's not just mindfulness. Mindfulness is more of a shorthand, but it really means being aware with wisdom. Mindfulness together with wisdom. The wisdom to know what's appropriate for a particular time and place. Mindfulness in and of itself, you could be mindful robbing someone's bank. You could be mindful fishing. People are mindful fishing, but it's not the kind of mindfulness we're talking about. It's not the mindfulness that leads to overcoming, being free from samsara. So it's really mindfulness together with the wisdom to know what's appropriate for time, this place, in this way. And then that's the kind of mindfulness we're talking about. So, mindfulness according to time and place will vary. One of the ways that it varies is the scope of how broad we're aware. Right? So, if you're in your kuti or your tent, and you're sitting meditation with your eyes closed, really, you only need to be mindful of this body, this mind, or even just part of this body. Just your nose tip or your chest, the breathing, or you don't need, your scope of mindfulness can become very refined. But then as soon as you open your eyes, or even if you're meditating in a meditation hall, there's still a certain responsibility to be acting appropriately around other people. When you go into certain situations, then you kind of see, okay, what's appropriate in this situation with these people, right? And that's where you kind of have to tune in. What might have been appropriate yesterday might not be appropriate today. Or what's appropriate when we're alone in our kuti may not be appropriate when we're in the sala with lots of other people. It's like if you're in your kuti, you're just being mindful, very mindful of the air coming in contact with your nostrils, and then go out to let's say the work period or chores period, and you have to interact with and coordinate with other people, but you're only focusing on your nostrils, not very effective. It's not the right time, the right place. And that, in that situation, then what mindfulness or mindfulness, sati, panya, mindfulness together with wisdom, means that, okay, what's appropriate for this situation? So then when we're with other people, we open up our mindfulness. Our scope of mindfulness becomes more broad. Say, oh, there are these perceptions of other beings around, or there are these various duties. What needs doing? How can I fit into the situation in the best way? Do I say something or not say something? How do I say something in the right way? All of this takes a broader scope of mindfulness. And then when we leave the sala and we're walking back to our kuti alone, then our mindfulness, scope of mindfulness can reduce a bit. You don't have to be aware of every tree and bird and hill, right? And kind of reduce it just to this body and mind. You keep it open a little bit so you don't walk into a tree. Yeah, pay attention to where the path is. Right? Then you get back to your kuti and you sit down. You can really reduce it again into just this body and this mind. You don't have to be aware of anything outside of that. And that all of that is mindfulness. All of that is mindfulness, just with different scope, like a different aperture, opening and focusing, according to time and place. And that way, everything actually can be made into meditation. It's so easy to say. I make everything is my meditation. But even when we sit quietly with our eyes closed, it's difficult to meditate and not be distracted. And be consistently attentive to what's happening in the present. So then once our eyes are open and we're moving around and there's other people, then it's much more difficult. And then as soon as you're engaging in conversations, it's like a whole nother level of difficulty. So we try to start with the easiest form of developing mind, just being still, sitting with our eyes closed. But the simplest activity one could find. And we'll just start with that, and then gradually our wholesome qualities, wholesome states of mind, of which mindfulness is part, get stronger and stronger, and then we can incorporate more activities into this actual meditation. And then if you want to go running, it will be meditation as well. So there's one monastery, Ajahn Maha Bua's monastery in Thailand. Every monastery tends to be, it would be a bit different. In Ajahn Maha Bua's monastery, they did things really fast. Everything was really, really fast. They got an alms round, and it's like, boom, boom. It's almost like a jog, an alms round through the villages. It's like with you. I mean, if you're not used to it, it's quite a shock in the beginning because you go like boom, 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 and the lay people have to be. It's like for the lay people, it's like playing basketball. They were like, they gotta like the ball's coming. You gotta time it just right. Boom, 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 and then like the monks will just go through all the villages, and then you get back and everything's like boom, 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 quick, 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 and so that it does force you to be aware. I mean, if you're spacing out, the guy behind you on alms round is going to run into you. He's like push you out of the way, like, boom, come on, mate, get with it, or shove you in the back or something. And then so it like forces you to be aware. And then the work period, the chores period, whatever we're doing, it's like everyone's like. It's funny because it starts at a particular time, right? So everyone gathers, sitting quietly. very peaceful. Everyone gathers usually a few minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes before the actual start of the work period, just sitting silently, quietly, not chatting. And then someone indicates the beginning of the work period. It's like a ding, and everyone just boom, jumps up into action. Just like scrubbing the floor, scrubbing the walls, everything, scrubbing, sweeping, and it's just like this flurry of action. And if you're not used to it, it's like, it's like, what's going on? So, but if you learn then how to be mindful when you're slow and still, and when you're fast and active,